I'm nervous.
What you nervous about? Jeez.
I think a lot of people think that I'm used to talking about this, and the fact that it still bothers me is good, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to convey it honestly.
No one can really explain the exact sequence of events that unfolded here at the house last November.
Amanda Knox and her ex-boyfriend face murder and sexual violence charges in connection with the death of 21-year-old British student Meredith Kircher.
Well, the house where Meredith was murdered still holds its secrets. In a case being watched so closely in Italy, America, and Britain, who is Amanda Knox? Is she the innocent, fun-loving American student she claims? Or a debauched and ruthless young woman?
I think people forget this. I was having the time of my life in Italy, wandering the city and being there when the flea market came to town and eating roasted chestnuts on the Duomo steps and just people watching. I was 20, Meredith was 21. I was the one who barely spoke Italian. I was the one who was overly enthusiastic about everything. And Meredith was like, okay, let's go have pizza. And it was great. I really appreciated her just being there and being this warm, welcoming presence. I was into like classical Italian music. And so when I saw this flyer for a classical music concert that was gonna be at my university, I was like, yes. I invited Meredith to come along with me, and we went to the music concert, sat next to each other, and I just made eye contact with this Italian guy who was a nerdy Italian guy. And, you know, he was cute, and I thought he was cute, so I kind of like did the eyes and smile and you know, smile back, and you pay attention to the music. And then at intermission, Meredith had to go and meet her friends, and so she got up and left, and then Raphael swooped in and took her spot. And then, you know, from then on out, I was in puppy love, and we did everything together.
At this point, did you have any inkling that your life would never be the same?
No.
Meredith Kircher was found lying in a pool of blood with her throat slit.
Was it a sex game gone horribly wrong? That's what Italy's Supreme Court wants to find out.
I felt like I was alone in the world. I was isolated. I was scared. I could not make sense what was happening to me, and that made me feel so small.
The most compelling feature of this trial has been the character of Amanda Knox. Prosecutors believe that Knox murdered her friend as part of a drug-fueled orgy.
Jealous and manipulative, suggesting she was sexually adventurous and somehow deviant.
I was in a jail cell, and I did not have access to international news. What I didn't understand for a very long time was that the courtroom and the media were feeding each other. The trial was obsessed with sex. What they obsessed over was whether or not I had condoms in the bathroom, whether or not I had a vibrator. They came up with a whole theory about a sex game that I orchestrated that ended in Meredith's murder.
British tabloids painted a picture of a wild party girl with a dark side.
Meredith was relaxing in her room, studying, when she was attacked at knife point. Prosecutors believe that Knox murdered her friend as part of a drug-fueled orgy. Solecito held her down, and then a second man forced her to have sex. Amanda Knox cut her throat.
Killed Meredith in a drug-fueled sex game gone awry.
Cut the throat of her friend while involved in an extreme sex game.
That was the only story that they could put in front of people that was compelling enough to carry through a conviction. It didn't really hit me, though, how big and all-encompassing the media was until I finally got out.
American co-ed, Amanda Knox walks free. This was an extraordinary day in Italy and all over the United States.
Immediate liberation. She didn't commit the crime. The words of the judge. For 4 years, Amanda Knox has been in jail. Tonight, she's free.
I finally saw it. I finally saw it in the flesh, where on the way out of the prison, I am being chased by paparazzi.
Less than 2 hours, Amanda Knox and her family will arrive here in Seattle. You know, the last time she was in this airport 4 years ago, she was just a student heading off on a school year abroad.
I thought I was just gonna go home. And like for me, it was just overwhelming, the smell of home. I smelled home and it smelled like home. I smelled the grass and the earth and the rain, and it smelled so different than the dry place that I had been in for so long. And I was so overwhelmed by the smell. And then suddenly I was like, okay, I guess I have to talk to like 100 people.
I'm really overwhelmed right now. I was looking down from the airplane and it seemed like everything wasn't real. I just want, my family's the most important thing to me right now, and I just want to go and be with them.
And while I was overwhelmed with this, I was being asked to be ready to stand up to the judgment of others. I don't get to be anonymous, ever, ever. And I think that's a thing that people don't think about very often, because most people get to be anonymous at least sometime. I don't get to swipe on Tinder. I don't get to wear a t-shirt with a skull and crossbones on it. I don't get to make a dark joke. I could not be certain that someone befriending me wasn't doing so to get to me. For me, I think the most drastic challenge was finding love and feeling like someone loved me for me. What I had to do was juggle being the Amanda Knox in the tabloids and Amanda Knox, the just person doing her thing, living her life. So yeah, I went and got a job. Yeah, I went to university. Yes, I even made a friend in poetry class. And yes, I even eventually fell in love. But I could not do those things if I didn't accept what had happened to me as a part of who I was. I want to acknowledge that this stuff is happening. I want to discuss it in a way where human beings and women can come together with really disparate examples of the same thing and find common ground and prove that we're not crazy for saying that it's happening.